Hello and welcome. My name's Paula Werrett and I'm Head of Undergraduate Courses here at ION. And I'm going to be speaking to you today about ION's BSc Hons in Nutritional Therapy. So just a little bit of background to myself. As Head of Undergraduate Courses, I look after all ION's undergraduate courses, and this includes, as well as the degree, our Cert HE in Personalised Diet and Health, our graduate diploma in integrative functional nutrition, and a range of credit-bearing short courses. So I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner, and I've been practicing for many, many years. So what that means is that I've got a really good understanding of the knowledge that needs to be in our courses, but also the skills that are needed to succeed in this profession. So what you will see in our courses is that we have business and career planning skills, we have clinical skills, we have personal development skills, writing skills, so that when you qualify, you're really well equipped to go out and succeed in the nutrition arena. So before we get into the detail of the course itself, just a little bit of background to ION. So ION's been established since 1984. So we've been running for a very long time. And that means that obviously we're very, very experienced in training nutritional therapists. So we were set up by Patrick Holford, who founded the Institute in 1984. And Patrick is a very accomplished author and speaker and businessman in the nutrition field. And if you want to know more about Patrick, then you can go to the YouTube link and you can listen to a short recording about the work that he does. So we're going to look now at some different approaches to nutrition and diet. So one of the things that's really important is to make sure that when you're undertaking a nutrition training, that your approach and what you want to do with your qualification is aligned to the approach of the training provider, and that when you finish your course, you will actually be able to do with that course what you want to do with it at the end. So if we look at this plate, first of all, this is the standard government approach to nutrition and to nutrition advice. So this Eat Well Guide is published by Public Health England. And what you can see on this plate is that there is quite an emphasis on fruit and vegetables in the green segment of the plate. And that's probably similar to many other approaches. But what you'll notice is that there's no differentiation between the fruits and the vegetables. They're all on the plate together, and no advice as to how much fruit and how much vegetables should be eaten in a day. Similarly, if we look at the starchy carbohydrate part of the plate, then we can see that we have whole grain versions of starchy carbohydrate foods mixed together with more refined versions of the same foods, again, without any guidance as to what the balance of those different types should be. The other notable thing about the plate is that oils and spreads make up a very tiny proportion of the plate. And then finally, the thing to say about this plate is that it's very much based on a one-size-fits-all with no differentiation as to whether this plate should be changed in different situations or for different people and different nutritional types. Then if we move on to look at a different plate, this plate is from the Alliance for Natural Health. And what you can see on this plate is that we have got that differentiation between fruits and vegetables with more guidance as to how much fruit and vegetables we should eat. And we can see that there is less emphasis on fruit on this plate. And that might be maybe surprising to some of you, but obviously fruit is a healthy food, but it is still quite high in sugar. And so that's why this plate is making that differentiation between fruit and vegetables to make sure that we're not taking in too much sugar, even natural sugar from fruit. Also, you can see that the starchy carbohydrate part of the plate is based on whole grains, so a smaller proportion, and emphasizing natural foods such as brown rice, quinoa, gluten-free oats, and so on. And then we've got more of an emphasis here on healthy fat foods, making up 10% of the plate and coming from things like unfiltered extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, nuts and seeds, avocado, and so on. And then protein making up perhaps slightly more than it did on the previous plate. But the real perhaps difference here is that this plate is very much based on a personalised approach and with a real food focus. And this idea very much aligns with ION's way of thinking, that there are a few general guidelines that may be applicable to the population as a whole, but really the philosophy of nutritional therapy is around personalization. We all need to eat slightly different types of diets based on our genetics, based on our health issues, based on our lifestyles and our life stage. And that's really what you will learn on the course, is how to work with individuals and how to personalize things so that we can make recommendations that are appropriate for the person that is seeking that nutritional therapy advice. So the other thing to think about is the way that we work as nutritional therapists, and to make sure that this is the sort of way that you would want to work when you finish the course, and also to make sure that this aligns with your way of thinking. So in nutritional therapy, we have very much what we call a functional approach. So we're sort of starting with the client's goals and then looking at what's happening in the body as a whole. And so obviously the body is very interlinked. And this is where functional medicine and nutritional therapy very much differ from mainstream medicine, in that mainstream medicine is very compartmentalized. You know, if you have an issue with your hormones, you just go and see sort of a hormone specialist. If you have an issue with your gut, you go and see a gut specialist. And sometimes this can lead to recommendations that are not considering the body as a whole and all of the different interrelated things that are going on. So in nutritional therapy, we very much consider the body as a whole, and we're looking at all of the imbalances across all of the different body systems, as well as thinking about what's going on in someone's environment, what's going on at a sort of mind and spirit level, and their heritage and culture, the genetic influences that are coming through. So this is how we make our assessment really of what's going on for somebody and what they need. So that metabolic assessment, drawing on all of that information and then leading to a set of personalized nutrition and lifestyle recommendations. So why study personalized nutrition? There are obviously other types of nutrition courses that are not perhaps so personalized. So it really does lead to a very fulfilling career. I've been working in this arena for 20 years, so I can attest to that, and very much leading a sort of portfolio career, which we'll talk a little bit more about later on. If maybe you're already doing something in this field, perhaps in a related sort of way, then obviously studying nutritional therapy enables you to expand that existing career and add that into what you're doing already. And it's so lovely to be able to make a difference to somebody's health and to their life and their happiness by enabling them to live the best life they can and to feel as well as they can. And it's really, you can't put a price on how amazing that is to be able to help somebody in that way. Nutritional therapy is a really flexible career, so that's another really great thing about it. And if you're sort of self-employed, then you can really choose the hours that you work. There's a great deal of flexibility there, and so that can kind of fit in really well depending on your life stage and what you're looking for. It can be a really great way to work, and it can give you lots of different opportunities in lots of different fields. It's a lovely community, the nutritional therapy community. It's quite a small community and it's very supportive. So you'll find that you'll have lots of opportunities working with lots of different people in a great nurturing way. And it gives you obviously the chance to improve your own health as well and to keep your focus on your own health, which is great. And as we've said, obviously to help people, including friends and family. So ION's degree is validated by the University of Portsmouth, which obviously gives it that really great academic underpinning from a really great university. So the University of Portsmouth is one of the top 10 UK young universities. It has a gold-rated teaching excellence framework, so that really shows what a great university it is. It's been globally recognised for research. And an interesting thing about the University of Portsmouth is it's got very much a focus on supporting non-traditional learners. And many of our students at ION are what would be classified as non-traditional learners. So these are students that are maybe coming back to learning after being out of education for a long time and maybe being slightly older than the traditional age group of university goers. And so because of that, then our students have different needs and different challenges. So many of our students are working and doing a degree alongside work, either full-time or part-time, and also have families and maybe elderly parents to look after. So there's lots of different things to be contending with. And that's something that, both the University of Portsmouth and ION recognise, and we very much gear our courses to help our students who are doing the course and working in that way. So ION's mission aligns really well with the University of Portsmouth. We've got a very similar philosophy to teaching and learning. And so this makes us really excellent partners. And so we've got a very good, solid partnership there, which obviously means that you have a great course that you can embark on. So a bit more detail about the course itself. So our undergraduate courses are modular, and so the modules are sort of small units within the course. And that means that there's flexibility to do different modules at different times and take things at slightly different paces if that's what you want to do. The course is online with online lecture recordings, but also there's a whole range of different interactive tools and activities that you do behind the scenes, as well as in online live workshops as well. So we do make sure that all of that learning is really interesting. You're not just sitting watching recordings. There's lots of interactive things that you're doing as well. And our lecture recordings are done by leading experts in the field. So you can really hear from the people who really know about the subject that you're learning about. And many of them are practitioners in their field, so they can really talk about the reality of working in those particular fields and really help you to get that understanding. And, that's really helpful as you go through so that you can understand what really does and doesn't work. But also it helps you to understand what fields you might want to work in and whether there's an area that you might want to specialise in. Our lecture recordings are made available from the beginning of each semester, so it gives you lots of flexibility as to when you want to watch those, and you can fit that in around other things that are going on in your life. And if you want to take a break or go on holiday, then because you've got lots of opportunity to sort of schedule that learning, then you can organise things to enable yourself to do that. As well as the online pre-recorded lecture recordings, then we have live online workshops, and these happen really regularly, and they're an opportunity for you to get together with other students who are studying the same module, but also with your tutors and with some of the external speakers that you've listened to on the lecture recordings. And obviously you've got an opportunity to ask questions, but also you'll be doing interactive activities, maybe discussing cases, discussing different views on nutrition, looking at kind of research in the field and trying to make sense of that, doing practical activities where you're maybe practicing giving advice to a client or doing other clinical work and so on. So there's a whole range of different things that you'll be doing. The live webinars as well are there to help you with your assessment work and to give you guidance on that and an opportunity to ask questions. Our module coordinators are there, very much there to help you. And they have weekly Zoom drop-in sessions as well. Some of those have structured activities in them. So there's always an opportunity to talk to somebody and get the help that you need. So in addition to all of the online activities and learning that happens, we have optional in-person attendance events. And so these are an opportunity for you to get together with other students in person, which is a really lovely thing to do. And we find that it really helps to cement the friendships that you make on the course, which are really, really valuable. Often our students stay friends with people they've met on the course for life because they're such sort of powerful friendships that you make. So lovely to meet other students in person, again, to meet the tutors in person as well. And these events happen throughout the year, and they take the form of things like a case study day where you can hear from experts about how they've tackled case studies, as well as having an opportunity to think about how you might have tackled that case study. So they tend to have sort of a bit of a practical focus. There's opportunities to come in and hear from different industry providers. So you can hear from supplement companies and testing companies, and opportunity to network. And these provide great opportunities to find work, volunteering opportunities, and so on. And then we have clinically focused events that happen that enable you to learn skills such as taking blood pressure and doing anthropometric testing so that you can complete tasks like body fat composition analysis and so on. So there's a really nice mix, we think, between the online learning, which gives you the ultimate flexibility in terms of when and how you learn, together with some really lovely opportunities to meet up with other students and be together and have that kind of really lovely bonding experience. The University of Portsmouth Library, you will automatically have access to as a University of Portsmouth student, and you will be able to view papers and textbooks online. And if you choose to, you can go into University of Portsmouth Library as well. So those are all great opportunities. And it's worth saying that nearly all of our textbooks are available through the University of Portsmouth Library. So that means you don't necessarily need to buy those books because you can access them online. So this diagram looks a little bit complicated, so apologies for that, but it really just shows the different pathways through to the degree. So we'll talk a little bit about entry levels and so on, but this is really just to say that there are different routes to coming to the degree. So you can come in directly to the degree if you have a science background, and we'll look at what that means a little bit later on. Alternatively, if you feel that you're not ready to make the commitment to the degree at this stage, then we have another course which is called a Cert HE in Personalised Diet and Health. This is also validated by the University of Portsmouth, and this is a level 4 qualification that still trains you in nutrition, trains you still to do some one-to-one work and to work with groups within the boundaries of the conditions that you learn about at level 4, and it helps you with diet interventions as well. So this is an alternative to the degree if you don't feel ready to sign up to the degree at this stage. One of the things that's really lovely is that you can start the degree, and because the first 18 months of the degree, the first 18 months of the part-time pathway, I should say, of the degree actually is the same modules that you do on the Cert HE, then you will automatically have leave after 18 months with a dietary educator award. And so if you choose to do the degree after 18 months part-time doing the degree part-time, or a little bit quicker if you do it full-time, then you will be able to start doing some limited practice in the field so that you can really start to earn while you learn, and it gives you an opportunity to start to develop your social media following and so on, and build your business. So this is something that's quite unusual and quite unique to the way that ION works. So very much something to think about, because obviously it's the degree takes a while to complete. So if you can be doing some practice while you're still studying, then that kind of really helps you to obviously make some money, but also just to start putting some of your skills into practice in the real world. We have a number of, as I mentioned before, credit-bearing short courses. So we have a course in behaviour change, a course in coaching, and a course in business and career planning. So these are automatically part of the modules that you do on the degree. But if you want to do the Cert HE and you don't want to go on to the degree, you can choose to add on some of these additional modules and do them as credit-bearing short courses. And then finally, it's worth saying that if you want a shorter term commitment and you're not ready to choose the degree or the Cert HE, then there is a credit bearing course called Diet and Health. And that's a bit of a dip of a toe into the water. It's a short 20 credit module. Again, it's validated by the University of Portsmouth, and it is one of the modules that is in both the degree and the Cert HE. So if you just want to start with that one, you can start with that one. And then if you decide to go on further, then you've got that one already completed, and it's one less module to do on either the degree or the Cert HE. So I hope that was a useful overview of how all the courses fit together. So we're going to look now at level 4 of the degree. So level 4 comprises the first 18 months of the degree. If you do it part-time, if you do it full-time, then you would complete level 4 within 1 year. So in level 4, we look at the principles and concepts of food and nutrition. So you do a foundational module that looks at the macronutrients. So you're looking at things like fats, proteins, carbohydrates, what these things are, what foods you can find them in, the amounts of these different things that you need for good health and in different types of circumstances. You learn about the micronutrients, the vitamins and the minerals and the phytonutrients, and again, where you can find these micronutrients, the amounts that you need, and the difference between government guidance and optimal health, and also about safe upper levels as well. You learn about different dietary models and how to eat well in different circumstances. You learn about things like the environment and ethical and political considerations around food. So it's a lovely foundational module. And in addition, in level 4, you learn about all of the different body systems and what foods that you need to eat to keep those body systems working well. So, for example, we'll look at the hormonal system and how to make sure you're eating in a way that supports healthy hormone function, and what to do if things are out of balance as well. So on the flip side, if you have clients that are coming to see you, and maybe they've got PMS, or maybe they've got issues in their menopause, then how do you support them through dietary recommendations, and how do you support them with lifestyle choices and changes to help to modify some of those symptoms that they're dealing with. So at the end of the level 4, then you've got a really nice toolbox of understanding of all of these different conditions, different body systems. You'll learn about the immune system. You'll learn about the detoxification system. You'll learn about the digestive system, as we said, the hormonal system, the sort of musculoskeletal system. So you'll just have a really lovely rounded understanding and how to support with health, with diet and lifestyle. And then finally at level 4, you do a module where you will learn about the skills that you need to work clinically with clients as a dietary educator. So you will learn about the kind of clinical encounter, You will learn some business skills and career skills, and just everything that you need, reflective skills, so that you can kind of go out and start working in a limited way based on the understanding of you developed at level 4. So that's level 4 in a nutshell. And if you want to leave at that point, then that is the Cert HE in personalised diet and health. For the degree, though, if you're carrying on at level 5, what you learn in addition to build on your existing knowledge is you learn about diets, supplementation, and lifestyle advice. So you're learning more about this. And this is really looking at sort of more complex conditions now. So these are conditions where they might be a little bit more medical, there might be more potential underlying causes for these conditions. And at this level 5, as well as looking at diet and lifestyle, we're now looking at supplementation as well. So what products could you perhaps give to somebody or recommend to somebody to help them additionally with the diet and lifestyle advice that you're giving? And sometimes these are just temporary things that we recommend to people. We think of it a bit like the scaffolding that we're putting around the building, and then once somebody's got their diet more sorted out, then often we can take these things away. But in the short term, they can be very helpful. And there are things like probiotics and prebiotics and those sorts of things that can be really beneficial. So sort of more complex conditions, as we've talked about. We also learn about the skills of differential diagnosis, which is really sort of trying to think about all of the things that could be going on for somebody. And this is a very important skill to make sure that you're practicing safely as a nutritional therapist, and that understanding anything that should be referred medically onto a mainstream medical practitioner or a different type of practitioner. One of the things at level 5 that you also learn is around functional testing. So one of the things that's quite fascinating as a nutritional therapist is that we have access to a wide range of tests that are not available on the National Health Service or other sort of mainstream health services. So that means that, quite often we have clients that come to us that have gone through all the medical tests, and maybe they've been given a diagnosis of something like IBS, for example, and they've got the reassurance that there's nothing medically too problematic. But, maybe they're still really struggling because actually, it's difficult to live with a condition like that that's chronic, and maybe causing a lot of disturbance to everyday life. So where we can come in as nutritional therapists is that we can, with the client, recommend a range of different tests that can really help to hone down what are the things that are going on for this client that are causing them to have these IBS symptoms, and often understanding more detail around what's happening with the client, maybe the bacteria in their gut, looking at things like foods that may or may not be affecting, and those sorts of things can really help that client to sort of manage those symptoms in a much better way and have a better quality of life. So learning about functional testing is kind of key to being able to work well as a nutritional therapist. We learn about drug-nutrient interactions as well in this module, because many clients will come to see us on medication from the GP. And as nutritional therapists, it's very much not our role to tell clients not to take those. We have to honour what a doctor has said and work with that. But it's useful to understand what side effects some of the medications might be having, and also for us to be very mindful of what we recommend, both in terms of foods and in terms of any supplements, to make sure that we're practicing safely and we're not doing anything that would be potentially harmful to a client. We build on at level 5 on the clinical skills that have been learned at level 4. And now we're factoring in behavior change, theory, and coaching skills to really help our clients, to motivate them to get the best out of them so that they can really make the changes that they need to make to see the results that they want to see. And so you'll learn the theory, but you'll also be working practically and practicing those skills. And as we move through to level 5, we're also teaching you to think a bit more critically and to look at research and to sort of start to pull things apart in a more analytical way. And then finally, personal development, boundaries and ethics is a big part of what you learn at level 5. So then finally moving on to level 6, which is the final 120 credits of the degree. Then at this level, you then start working in clinic with real clients. At level 5, you do role play work, but now at level 6, you're getting the benefit of experiencing real clients in a supervised and safe way. We continue with the personal and professional development. Level 6, because it's about even more complex conditions, and there's quite a big emphasis on roles and ethics and boundaries, sort of what to do if a cancer patient comes to see you at a particular stage in their treatment, and when it's safe to work with somebody and when it's not safe to work with somebody, and, the situations in which you need to refer on and those sorts of things. We do more on business and practice management. So you will remember you will have done some training on that at level 4. But now we're looking at the business and practice management opportunities more related to the degree rather than just what you can do at the Cert HE level. And we're looking at advanced research skills because at level 6, you will go on to do a research project. And so you need to understand how to go about that and what the skills you need to do that. So we teach you those skills first, and then you go on to do your project in a supervised way where you work one-to-one with a supervisor. So a little bit about the entry requirements. So we alluded to this earlier on, but for the Cert HE and the degree, you must have a level 2 or GCSE equivalent in maths and English. If you don't have GCSE or equivalent in those subjects, but you have been working for a while, do talk to us, because sometimes students don't actually have the paper qualifications with this, but they can demonstrate it in other ways because of the work that they're doing. So there is a little bit of flexibility around this. So do talk to us, and we can see whether you have the level needed to start the course on that. Additionally, you need 2 A-levels or equivalent qualifications at level 3. And one of those needs to be in a science-related subject, such as biology or chemistry or something similar. So again, sometimes students have not quite got that, but maybe they've done really well or demonstrated science in another way. Sometimes people have done personal training courses or something else where they've done level 3 science. So again, if you're not sure, please feel free to have a discussion with us about that. If you don't have the required entry qualifications, either the maths and English or the A-levels, then you can do our Science Access course as an alternative. And there's a separate webinar on that. So do ask us about that, and we'll be happy to share that with you. And then you can understand what's involved in completing that Science Access course. The other thing to say is that some of our students have already completed some of the learning that is in the degree itself. So we do have a system for the recognition of prior learning. And there are 2 types of recognised prior learning: the certified prior learning, where you've actually got a certificate to show that you have done that learning, or the other type of learning is recognised prior experiential learning. And that's just where you've done some sort of work or completed something that where you've developed the learning without actually having a certificate. So again, if you think that applies to you, talk to us about that, and we're happy to have a conversation. So yeah, the recognised prior learning requirements. So there are different amounts of credits that are allowable within the degree. So again, talk to us and we can look at your specific situation and what's possible there. So we've talked a little bit about the online learning and the community of learners. We've talked about the live online interactive sessions that we have. And the webinars and the group work and so on. But just to really emphasize that everything is very self-paced. You can watch the online recordings, when it suits you. The live sessions are obviously scheduled at specific times. We do record those. So if for any reason you need to miss, then you can catch up with the recordings. However, they are designed very much to be sort of interactive. So really the real value comes in attending those. And certainly for things like clinic, then there is an element of mandatory online attendance, because some of the clinic is assessed and we need to be able to make sure that you've done the required amount and that we can make sure that you're competent in the different areas. This is you can see in the picture a screenshot of the front of our online virtual learning environment, which is called Rely On. So there are all kinds of things on Rely On. So as well as your lectures, there's lots of things like kind of quizzes, different activities you can do, things that you can do on your own to test your own learning, but also things that you can do with other students. So we do try to keep it as interesting as possible, make sure that that motivation stays. And all of the lectures are recorded in short chunks so that you can kind of dip in and out and fit things around when it suits you. And you can see at a glance how long each recording is so that you can kind of factor that into your schedule. We do have a huge amount of support at ION. So, we do pride ourselves on the support that we give. And we'll talk a bit more about that later on. But support from lots of sources. And then you have the University of Portsmouth Library resources as well. So you will get an induction into the University of Portsmouth Library when you join us as a student, but also there's ongoing support from the University of Portsmouth Library librarians. And then, as we've said before, in addition, there are the optional in-person enhancement events that we've spoken about. So assessments, unfortunately, these are an inevitable part of doing a degree, but we have a lovely mix of different types of assessments, and they're very well spaced out throughout the year so that we try to avoid any real overload of assessment. And what we have is we have teaching blocks where you complete the lectures and the learning and have the live sessions, and then we have a big block where you have time to work on your assessments. So we've set it up to kind of provide that dedicated study time for you to get on with that. But we also have formative assessments where you have an opportunity to have a practice at something and get some feedback on it, and then take that learning and use that then to go into your summative assessments, which are the assessments that count towards your module grade. So you're doing a real range of different things in terms of assessment. So we have things like essays, and we have short answer questions. We have different written case studies. We have sort of little scenario-based assessments. You might be completing a dietary plan or analysing a food diary. And then there are more practical skills-based assessments as well. So obviously your clinical work is assessed in a practical sense. You write a business plan. And then obviously at the end of your degree, you're doing your research project, which is one of the final modules that you will do. So we feel like it's a really nice mix. So if you feel like essays aren't your thing, don't worry, because there's a really lovely wide range of different things that you do. And they're all designed to reinforce that key knowledge and understanding and to help you develop those subject-specific skills and the employment-related skills that you will need to succeed. So we've touched on student support, but just to give you a little bit more information on what the support looks like. So the virtual learning environment, you've seen a picture of what that looks like. So you have 24/7 access to that. So literally you can choose when you want to watch your lectures. They're always there and available to you, along with your course materials, your slides, and so on. And then you will have that access to your student forums from Rely On as well. So you can ask questions of your tutors and you can chat to each other about a specific learning or assessment related queries that you might have. Each module has a dedicated module coordinator, and all of our module coordinators are on our payroll at ION. So it means that they're available to you and it's always quick for you to get an answer from them about something. And in addition to the module coordinators, we have level leaders for each level, and they're there for you to escalate anything that you need to escalate, but also to give you pastoral support. So if things are cropping up in your personal life that are making life very difficult for you and impacting on your studies, then you can have a chat with a level leader and get some support and talk about a way forward with your studies and the best options that are available to you. When you come on to the clinical and the research modules, then you will have clinical supervisors who observe you in clinic in very small groups. And so you get kind of a dedicated supervisor who watches your consultation all the way through, gives you loads of really helpful feedback, and they're really incredibly supportive and nurturing, our supervisors, and they're all very experienced practitioners themselves. So there's a huge amount that they've got to give, and you can learn a lot from working with them. And then on your research project, you have a research supervisor that will work in a dedicated way with you to help you hone your research ideas, help you to structure your research project, and give you feedback on drafts of different sections and so on. In addition to all of that, we've got our academic support team who are very much there to help you with academic skills. So if you're coming back into learning and you've not studied for a long time, and you're feeling a bit nervous about that, then don't worry, there's lots of support available. So our academic support team run webinars on different academic related topics. So things like essay writing or concise writing, research skills, referencing, those types of things. And they're on your timetables and scattered throughout the year, but also all of the recordings are available in our Study Skills Hub. So if you want to watch them at a different time, or if you want to just get ahead and watch them up front, then they're all available for you to watch. But also you can arrange one-to-one sessions with a member of our academic support team. So if you feel that you just need more one-to-one support with something like essay writing, for example, if perhaps you got an essay back and you didn't do quite as well as you'd hoped and you feel you need more support, then you can arrange a one-to-one session online, and they will sort of talk you through and look at your actual essay and help to guide you on that. And so we get absolutely fantastic feedback on our academic support team. So they're an incredibly valuable resource to our students. We talked about the online journals and books that are available, and also the support from the University of Portsmouth subject librarians. And then there we have our academic administration team who are available to give support on things like issues with rely on access or issues with sort of basic IT and that sort of thing. So there is a huge amount of support available to you. And I think this is something to really explore if you're looking at other training providers, is just to make sure about the support that they offer, because it does vary enormously, and having the right amount of student support can make the real difference to you succeeding on the course and staying motivated with your learning. So I would sort of urge you just to really look into that. So here's a quote from one of our graduates, really lovely. There's so much tutor and student support, including study skills support. This gave me the support needed to achieve and be able to fit my learning around my everyday commitments. So I think that really does sum it up. One of the things that our students is they're generally quite busy people with other things going on. So just getting as much support as you can really help you to sort of do the course in as efficient way as possible. So commitments and requirements from your side. So if you're studying the course part-time, then you'll be looking at approximately 20 hours a week. And full-time, we would be saying more like 30 hours a week, because you're doing an extra module effectively a semester. And this is a very, very rough and general guide. And the reality is that requirement in terms of time will vary across the course. So there'll be times when, perhaps when you've got an assessment due in where you'll be thinking, gosh, I'm spending so much time and I'm putting lots and lots of extra hours in to get this assessment done. And then there'll be other times when things are much quieter and you're just spending your time watching the recordings and doing the reading and the exercises and so on. So it's very, very variable. And obviously, to some extent, it's dependent on you as an individual. How efficient are you with your study? Are you just really effectively getting to what you need to get to and looking through that? Or are you sort of getting sidetracked and easy to do in nutrition because it's also fascinating? So lots of different factors there. And, I think what you'll find is that as you go on through the course, you'll become more efficient at your study. And of course, there's lots of help with that from our academic support team. You do need a computer. Obviously, a lot of things can be looked at on phones and things, but really to do the course well, a computer is important. If you've got a Mac, that's fine. You do need a strong broadband connection. And we do use Microsoft Office packages. So if you do have a Mac, then you will need to make sure you've got Microsoft Office on there. IT skills are important. You don't need to be a complete IT whiz, but you do need to have a basic command of the main packages. And the core texts you'll need to access, but you can access most of them through the University of Portsmouth Library. And then, as we said, time management, really key. And also just being fit to study. So we do have some students who are quite poorly, and that can be one of the reasons for wanting to come into nutrition. And that's fine. But I think it's just worth thinking then in that case, whether you need to do the course on a slightly slower trajectory. So we have been talking mostly about the part-time and the full-time, but there are options to do the part-time slightly more slowly if that's something that you feel that you need to do. So again, do talk to us about that and we'll be happy to discuss the options with you. So the courses are accredited. So we have organisational accreditation with the British Accreditation Council, which is really kind of a hallmark of the quality of ION as a whole. And then the degree course is accredited by the Nutritional Therapy Education Commission, who are the organisation that do accredit nutritional therapy training provider courses based on them having met quite a detailed number of different areas. So it's a very vigorous seal of quality there. And then because our courses are accredited by the Nutritional Therapy Education Commission, it means that our graduates can join BANT, which is the British Association for Nutrition and Lifestyle Medicine. So there are other organisations that recognise nutritional therapy, but BANT is probably the longest standing and the most well recognised, and a really good organisation, very quality organisation, and does an awful lot for the profession and for its members. And I think increasingly the general public know that BANT is the place to go to look for qualified practitioners that have really studied to a very high level and therefore are more likely going to be able to help them with their health conditions. The other thing is that you are able to register with the Complementary and Natural Healthcare Council, and this is a part government funded organisation that is there really to provide a register to the general public of qualifications and practitioners that have studied to a high level, again as a guide for the public from the government perspective of which alternative practitioners are worth going to see. So really important recognitions there for IONS BSc ONS Nutritional Therapy. So moving on to what you can do with your qualification, here are some examples of some of ION's prominent alumni. Obviously, there are many, and we can't fit them all on the slide. But Amelia Freer is a very well-recognised and renowned author, and you may have seen some of her lovely books and cookbooks that she's created. We have Lucille Leader, who has done an awful lot of great work in the field of Parkinson's disease and really pioneered an approach to eating with Parkinson's disease, with Parkinson's medication. That means that the side effects can be kept at bay for longer. Pictured here, we have Jenny Shishi, And Jenny has got a brand called the Lunchbox Doctor. Jenny has done some really fascinating, interesting things with her qualification. She is very much an ambassador for air fryers and for Instant Pots and for specific brands of those. And she's had sort of paid work in that respect. And she's also written books on those different areas as well, cookbooks and other books. And she's worked very much with sort of children's nutrition and specialising in how to feed kids healthily and what advice for school lunches and that sort of thing. So do look her up and see what she's done. She's done some great things. Ryan Carter is a more recent graduate, and he is very much more on the sort of sports, nutrition, fitness side. And he has created a tremendous social media following and is doing some really, really exciting things. So you can, again, look him up and see what he is doing. Nicola Moore was a member of staff at ION, and she headed up our clinics for a number of years. And again, she has very successful practice with a very big social media following. She does a lot in terms of supporting different brands and gets paid work that way. She also works mentoring students, and she runs online courses and does a lot of one-to-one client work. Angelique Panagos is a graduate who has been involved in media work and was on the first series of the Sugar-Free Farm. Michael Ash, he's gone in a slightly different direction with his nutrition, is working more supporting nutritional therapy practitioners and more in the education field, as well as having a successful supplement company. Ian Marber was the food doctor and had a range of food products that were widely available. And Clemmy Oliver, again, a more recent graduate who very much has made her specialism in inflammatory bowel disease and has established some really successful partnerships with mainstream doctors and has done a lot, again, to elevate the status of the profession. So they're just a few examples, but there are lots of different things that you can do with your qualification, and it really depends on your own interests and the direction that you want to go in. So why choose ION? So we have been established since 1984, as I mentioned earlier. So that really means that we do have the experience of what works, what doesn't work within nutritional therapy. And obviously we've got that kind of underpinning from the Nutritional Therapy Education Commission and the CNHC to sort of show that the course that we provide is of a fantastic standard. Similarly, we have the University of Portsmouth validation. And the feedback that we get from our students really speaks for itself. We have really positive student voice feedback, and our graduates then go on to have very successful careers and to make a difference in the world of nutrition. ION's reputation is not just in the UK. We have an international reputation, and we have quite a large number of international students who study with us. And of course, you will benefit from all of the wonderful University of Portsmouth resources, benefits, and the reputation of ultimately being a University of Portsmouth graduate. Here's another quote from one of our graduates. She did our diploma, which we had previously, but she felt that it had given her the freedom to make a really inspiring, empowering career, educating people about how to improve their health. So that's a really lovely summary of what studying nutritional therapy can achieve. But just a few extra student benefits that you get as a result of studying with ION. So you get University of Portsmouth Student Union membership, and that means that you will be able to benefit from a whole range of student discounts. There's nothing better than finishing an essay and then going and rewarding yourself with a little bit of retail therapy, especially when you get a discount off of that. That's quite nice. You will get information on job notifications and graduate placements. We do communicate all of our job offers and things to our students as we go through the course. And because we're so well established and so renowned for the quality of our students and our graduates, then we do get quite a number of opportunities that come to us, and we obviously share those with people so that they can apply if they're interested. Discounts at health food shops, supplement and testing companies are part of what you will get as a student. And then we have academic prizes, and we have quite a number of academic prizes. So it's really lovely at the end of your study. If you happen to be awarded an academic prize, then obviously that's a really great thing to be able to put on your CV. It really kind of, again, elevates your kudos as a practitioner and within the profession as a whole. And then finally, if when you finish doing the degree, you want to do any further study, then if you do any further study through the University of Portsmouth, then as an alumni, you are able to get discounts on further study with University of Portsmouth. So we talked a little bit about the flexibility and the support that we offer, but just to say that we do have options for you as a student to adapt your pace of study and to move between cohorts. If you're a part-time student, you can convert to full-time at the end of a level. If you're full-time, then that option isn't available. So that is something to think about when you're deciding whether to go full-time or part-time. The other thing to say about the full-time and part-time courses is that the part-time, we have 2 intakes a year in September and in February. And with full-time, we just have 1 intake in September. Again, the credit stacking we've spoken about a little bit. So you can start with a module like diet and health, and then that sort of stacks. You can add on the other modules to move you towards your Cert HE or towards your degree. Similarly, you can take other modules at the end of the Cert HE and add those on as well. There's options to take study breaks if you need to. As I mentioned before, we very much know that our students have got a lot going on in their lives, and so sometimes life does get in the way, and you do need to take time out. So we've got procedures around that, and lots of our students take advantage of that. So that's very much there. So you don't need to be concerned about that. And similarly with our assessments, we have a policy where you can apply for extenuating circumstances if something crops up, and there's an opportunity to hand your assessment in at a later stage if that is required, or just to defer whole modules until the next intake. And because things run twice a year, it means that, if you need to take a little bit of time out, you don't have to wait too long until you can kind of resume your studies. And we have a variety of payment options, and we'll talk about those in a minute. So career options, we've talked about some of the practitioners who have studied at ION and what they've gone on to do. But just to say that personalised nutrition opens the door to lots of different opportunities. So one of the key ones that our students think about, of course, is one-to-one clinical practice. And, most nutritional therapists will do some one-to-one practice, but increasingly students are going on to have what we would call portfolio careers and doing a range of different things at the time, which makes for a very interesting and fulfilling career. So as well as one-to-one clinical practice, you may want to work in coaching, sort of health coaching, and you can do that privately or through the NHS has opportunities for coaches. There are opportunities to write for magazines or online, and to write books as well. And doing that kind of work can be very complementary to a one-to-one practice, because if you're seen to be an expert in the media, then obviously that tends to encourage clients to come and see you for one-to-one work. Obviously, there's opportunities on TV as well. Product development and endorsement. So we've spoken a little bit about Nicola Moore, who very much works on sort of product endorsement, but nutritional therapists are also involved in helping to develop products and to be advisors on nutritional content of certain things. Corporate well-being. This is an area that I've done quite a bit of work in. So you can work for different corporates and go in and do a range of different things. This could be things like giving talks. It could be running mini health checks, perhaps sort of doing things like body composition analysis and weight, height, blood pressure, blood sugar, that kind of thing. It might be going in and taking in a display of food and showing employees different options of what they could eat as snacks and for breakfast and things to eat healthily. So there's lots of different things that you can do. Sometimes it's mini one-to-one consultations as well. And there are options to approach, obviously, organisations individually, but there are also companies that you can work for who go out and get the corporate work and you work for them on their behalf. So there's an increasing amount of work in that arena. And of course, the sort of explosion of online work means that now a lot of corporates will be hosting online webinars and things, which can be done from the comfort of your own home. Some nutritional therapists will go into well-being retreats and will run those sorts of things. Again, there are organisations that employ nutritional therapists to do that. And there are lots of opportunities within teaching and training. And ION employs nutritional therapists to do a range of different things, from lecturing, from module coordination, marking, research supervision, clinical supervision, and lots more. So there are lots of different things. And if you've already got a particular specialism, like, some people come to us and they're chefs, and for them, they can very much bring the nutrition into what they do and use that to sort of springboard a whole new platform. Some nutritional therapists are not chefs, and they will do things like cookery demonstrations, cookery workshops, sort of online workshops, in-person workshops on different subjects are all options that you can do. If you're a personal trainer, then obviously this is very complementary to what you're doing already, and you can use that to create other spin-offs. So loads and loads. And obviously we have got our business and career module where we go into all of this in a lot more detail and help you to carve out the way you want your career to look when you graduate. And we do put a lot of emphasis on that, because clearly it's a qualification that is a significant investment of your time. We really want to make sure at the end of it that you have a great career and great opportunities to take things where you want them to go. So course fees, these will be sent to you. You can inquire directly if you want to find out a bit more about that. You can also have a look on our website where they are on there. There are different fees for full-time and part-time. And you can choose to either pay in full or via instalments. And the amount and the frequency of those instalments will depend on your country of origin. Sorry, not country of residence rather than origin. We also have some quite significant early bird discounts. So if you are thinking of applying, then do get in touch as quickly as possible so that you can take advantage of those discounts. So here's what another one of our students say. So Charlotte is working very much in the fertility field, and she has sort of worked with the fertility kitchen and used it as a resource to help women to optimize fertility through nutrition. So what she does is she creates and shares recipes and tailors them to support fertility and IVF, and she's writing a fertility nutrition cookbook, which is designed to inspire and empower women throughout their fertility journey. So that's a really lovely example of how someone's taken their training and looked at what they're interested in and used it to sort of carve a particular niche and the direction where they've taken their career. So the next steps are to speak with us. I can download a prospectus from our website, book a call, and you can apply online. And if you'd like to speak with me directly, you can just speak with our admissions team and they can put us in touch and we can take things from there. But the admissions team themselves can answer a lot of your specific questions on the course. So I hope that was useful. It's been really lovely speaking to you, and we look forward to welcoming you on the course. Thank you very much.